All right, so today I want to talk about fear, doubt, and lack of confidence in mediumship, because it has been something that accompanied me from the beginning of this journey. And it took me a while to understand what those things really were or really are, and how to break through them and break free from them. Hello, Diana. Thanks for joining me on Zoom.
Hola, hola, gracias a ti.
So it took me a while to break through doubts, fears, and all this stuff that is typical when you start developing. Let me ping myself so that I can be seen. Okay. And I want to talk to you about my personal experience, and hopefully you can get some insight and take some of what I'm about to tell you and use it on your own, especially if you are a developing medium that works with people. I'm going to tell you first how fear and doubts manifested in my sessions, because they have different faces in this sense, like they show up in different ways. So fear and doubt for me were the anxiety that I would feel when somebody would book a reading with me. And when the day of the reading approached, then I would start feeling more and more anxious, because I was not sure whether or not I was going to be able to bring somebody through for that person. So the little bit of doubt was enough to make me, for example, message the person and postpone our session. And postponing our session to me was like, as if that moment would never arrive. But at some point the next week, that moment arrived, and I was going through the same thing. So I didn't know how to break through that, and during the session, I realized, I observed my feeling, and I realized what I was feeling, which is a knot around my throat, in my heart, and in my guts. That's how anxiety and fear and doubt manifested in my sessions, like on a physical level. And on a mental level, I would have thoughts of my goodness, I'm not good enough, and I don't know what this person is thinking of me, and they're gonna think that I'm horrible, or all these very intense judgments that I needed to become aware of. I needed to observe and ask myself, why am I allowing my mind to go in these places? So another way that this appeared, this fear and doubt appeared in my development was, and I think that Diana here, she's also, I've done this with her because I've done this a lot, and it was to, saying yes to the session, but then trying to avoid it, to go to the direct connection with spirit. So I would do something like a guided meditation or something, but connecting myself. Basically, I was trying to avoid that discomfort as much as possible, and thinking that it was going to be useful in any way. When in reality, the way that I overcame that, and I'm still overcoming that actually from the beginning of this year, and I've done this exercise also a couple of years ago, and it's really worked for me, was to really be okay with taking one step at a time, and be okay with feelings of uncomfortability. For example, I actually wrote a couple of notes here that I wanted to talk about. Okay. I remember how I actually started developing, which was when I was working, and this is going to sound fun because you don't expect this, right? You think that you start developing when you are in a class, or when, you're actively trying to connect with spirit. When in reality, I started connecting when I was cleaning at a spa, and I was focusing my energy and attention. Hermes wants to be in the scene. Okay. I was focusing my energy and attention. No? Okay. I was focusing my energy and attention doing a specific action. And that's when I started observing my thoughts, and I started actually feeling the presence of spirit and knowing that somebody was there. How did I know? I don't know how I knew, but that's the first Claire that now looking back, I realized that was developing, because we think that we need to study what the Claires are and then they're going to develop. But in reality, we are just going to study something that we have been developing already. So now looking back, I'm like, oh, that is what clear knowing is. That feeling, that sensation that we all have felt already, at least once in our life, once, more than once in our life. So that knowing was very subtle at the beginning, and I didn't trust it at all. I knew that there was a child next to me. Why? How did I know that? I don't know. I thought that I was going crazy, that I was making things up. But then when I was guided, and now I know that I was guided to talk to the receptionist about it, because I was like, I need to talk to somebody about it. I need to get this thing out of my chest. And when I talked to her, thinking that it was for somebody else, she actually started sobbing in front of me. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. And in that moment, I was like, what am I supposed to say? And that's when I started flowing I don't even remember what I said, but whatever I said needed to be said in that moment. So the point is that I followed that super, super subtle nudge. Even if I was completely skeptical, I doubted it. And I didn't know that it was going to be a thing. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us, Mahina and Luisa.
Thank you.
I am going to mute you all, and unless you have questions, if you have questions or you want to say anything, you can unmute yourself and speak. So I was talking here about my experience with how I personally started developing. So here I wrote something about this experience of realizing that I knew something, even though I didn't know how I knew it. I wrote down that the mystery lies in trusting that you know, even if you do not know how or why you know. So I didn't know how nor why I knew those things. And that's where the mystery was. I needed to trust that. That's where the mystery was. And that's where everything starts, with a little bit of trust at the time, at least for me. But now I know that it's for many of us. That's why we need to practice, right? Because it's a process. We trust a tiny bit at the time. And the cool thing is that when we are developing mediums, if we put ourselves out there with the right intention, which is, okay, I want to master this communication. I really want to understand this. I really want to use it to help others. I really, want to commit to it. Then the universe sends us people to practice with, people that are patient enough, people that are also trying to figure this thing out, and people that are matched with you for a reason. So even if in that moment, like if I go back and look at the readings that I've done in the past, a part of me judges them, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. I was like trying so hard. But then some of those people came back the year later and 2 years later. Today I had a reading with a couple that's from India, and they came to me like 4 times in the past years and a half. And I asked myself, why? Well, it means that I was able to give them something in that moment. And what did I give them? And that was that little bit of hope that they needed in that moment. However that looked like in that moment, I trusted that Spirit was not gonna leave me alone. They were going to have my back. And that's a thought that I started to substitute to the other thoughts. So instead of, thinking about the judgment, and I try to, first of all, think about that. Okay, I am here not alone. I definitely know for sure that something's going to come through. I don't need to have control over what that is. I am not the healer here. I am the vessel, and spirit is the healer. And they know exactly what type of evidence I am capable of bringing through. So this was really a logical analysis of the situation. Something else that helps me to this day is to follow the breath. So let me see if anybody has comments here so far on Facebook. Oh, hi, Shamara, and hi, Marty. And I also want to welcome Jocelyn here in the room. So nice to see a new faces here. So something else that helped me is really focusing on the breath, because I've done many mentorships. I really, thanks to the internet, we are capable of being mentored by the best of the best, whomever we want, whether that person is in Australia, in Japan, on Mars. Internet cuts the distance short. So yeah, finally he vomited. I need your help, baby. I need your help. It's okay. He just finally released whatever was inside of him. That's a real life conversation, sorry. So I forgot what I was talking about. I lost my train of thought. Oh, let me see. So many new people are joining. That's so awesome. Thank you. So what was I talking about, Diana? Help me. I was talking about the breath. Hello, somebody help me. Okay, let me.
And how we
Oh,
can.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I studied with the people that to me were the best of the best for me, which at that time and still to this day is, for example, Anthony Maraca. Why is it to me the best of the best? Because he's genuine, he's himself, besides being an amazing medium, but he has a story that really resonated with me. Even if I didn't go through the same things that he went through, but he was a drug addict for 16 years or more. He has many interviews on YouTube that talk about this, but he has gone in and out of rehab. He has been shot. He tried his best to get sober. And finally, after he got sober, he discovered these abilities, and he thought that it was because of the drugs that he took, right? So when I saw his lives, he's just so real, so authentic. And that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly the energy that I was looking for. And I just was waiting for the moment for us to work together to come. But him, Eileen Davis, everybody that I was mentored by, they say the same things. So I'm like, man, I still don't get it. And it's because I was not putting those things into practice. I was not giving myself the time to put those things into practice. So actually, now that I observe my child, I'm like, man, he's going to be walking when he's like 8, 9, or 10 months, or 11 or 12 months. He's going to master that, right? He's not going to crawl forever. But every single day, he tries to stand up, even if it's for just 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 40 seconds. And he knows that he's not going to master walking today. He knows that he's going to fall. He knows that I am going to hold him. But at some point, it feels like within him, he knows that all these little efforts, all the persistence that he had every single day is going to end up with the first step, the second step, the third step, and then walking and then running and then not even thinking about that anymore and being able to focus on something else. Maybe skating, for example, or surfing or whatever. So I really, I was literally thinking about this concept today. And before I used to think of God as this, white man with white beard, very old, very wise, and at the same time, very strict. Now I think of God as a child, like a big baby, like a huge baby that looks kind of like this, maybe a little older, that looks at you without judgment and supporting you and trusting you completely, which is something that brought so much comfort in my heart, so much peace, and allow me to accept myself for who I am and meet myself where I am at without trying to be something else, without trying to be what I'm not. So another thing, if you're taking notes, this is going to be very helpful. So the breath, focusing on the breath has helped me very much, because I just breathe loud, like until I receive something, whatever that is. And then I give it to the person. And I'm not worried whether it makes sense or not. I'm actually curious to know how that makes sense to the person. I'm like, okay, I received this. Why did I receive this? For example, today, this little child was coming through and he gave me a museum. And I'm like, okay, I am not able to go deep into the evidence right now, or I don't want to. I want to understand it with you. Why are they showing me a museum? And he said, because we're planning on going to the museum next week. I always ask for ungoogleable information that I cannot find on Facebook or on Google. And I'm like, oh, got you. Okay. And then the little child showed me like going down the river and surfing and just being around, rough rivers. And I'm like, how does that make sense to you? And they said, well, we're going to go rafting next week as well. I'm like, I see. So I understand what the other side wants to talk about. They want to talk about the fact that they are present when, for example, this child is present when his parents are having these conversations. This is what matters to them. To the medium, what mattered is, oh, we need to follow a structure. We need to say like, there is a man here. He's 45 years old. He has white hair, blue eyes. We think that is evidence. Right? But for the spirit, there is something else that is evidence. For example, for this child, I already connected with him in the past. So that type of evidence came before. But for him, for example, the evidence in the past was he showed me that it was moving around and playing soccer and dancing with his friends. I'm like, why are they showing me all that? I remember 2 years ago. And the parents said, because when he was here, he was handicapped. He couldn't move. He couldn't move his arms. He couldn't move his legs. So I understood that when spirit shows me that was a symbol for me that, yes, now they can move. Now they don't have the same issues that they had while they were here. So I realized that instead of trying to be, I don't know, arrogant or trying to think that I know everything or trying to interpret the things that they give me, I now learn to be humble enough to ask, even though if you go to many other mentors, many other teachers, they're going to tell you, no, don't ever ask any question. Just ask yes, no, or maybe. I don't like that type of interaction. I like to connect with people. Because otherwise I'm not going to feel comfortable being myself. And it's just like that feeling that I said at the beginning, like that tightness around my gut area, around my heart, and my throat is going to be there. It's not going to go away. So I need to make myself feel comfortable. And another tip, besides the breathing, the other one that I wanted to talk about, to feel comfortable, what works for me is to be completely transparent and honest with the person. That looks like this, having a very vulnerable conversation. So for example, right now I started practicing again after not practicing for a long time. Yes, I practiced maybe a few times during my pregnancy, but I was focused on something else. I was more like in my womb state. So I didn't practice. So now that I practice again, I don't go out to say like, oh, I am a medium and I'm going to connect. That's my intention, but I say the truth, which is, let me be transparent with you. I am starting again, and I want somebody that helps me figure out how this communication has evolved since I haven't been connected for 1 year, and let's figure this out together. And you know what? There isn't one person that came to me with their arms crossed, like, okay, let me see what you're capable of. None of that energy. all the people that have been sent my way have been so amazing. I learned so much thanks to them, thanks to their feedback, because I didn't tell you this, but before I was able to have a session with Anthony Maraca, now it's like 4 years that I'm into mediumship. I went 2 years without any mentor because I was broke. I didn't have money. And even $250 for me was a lot to put together. So I have this thing that I do that also could be very helpful if you are like me and you like to experiment a lot and just play around, which is I put myself in a specific situation and then I see what comes out from putting myself in that situation. For example, I asked myself, what would I do if I was in Anthony Maraca's class? And the answer was, he would kick my butt. He would just do a lot of exercises and he would force me to put myself out there. So why can't I do it already? Why do I have to wait for that moment, right? And this is what I started doing. I literally started putting myself out there and putting different groups. I'm looking for people that are willing to help me practice. And this has been the best of the best, because then when you have good sessions, which are actually the majority, if I think about it, I only had maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 not too good sessions in the past 2.5 years, not counting last year since I didn't. So in the past 4 years in total. And it's because they were bad, just because I think that they were bad, or just because I was really trying too hard, which is another thing. So the third tip was to be honest and transparent. That takes so much pressure off of your shoulders. It's just incredible how shifting a perception makes the entire difference. I was talking to my husband today and I was like, what's the best thing that I like about the session? It's not even the session itself. I mean, I love the sessions because I feel spirit like never before. But I love the fact that I don't feel tight. Thank you. I don't feel tight around those areas anymore, and I am not afraid of being wrong or receiving a no. Whereas before I was like closed like that. Now I know that there is somebody with me and I know that they're trying to say something. So instead of discarding even the smallest subtle feeling, vision, whatever, I really honor their effort, and I'm going to give myself another chance, and I'm going to give them another chance, because I know that there is a reason as to why they're bringing something through. So I'm going to stop here for a second, and I wanted to open it to questions or comments. Hello, Gloria. Hello, Marty. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, here on Zoom, anybody wants to comment something that even worked for you, or something that a breakthrough that you had today, or something that you didn't think about, just go ahead and unmute yourself.
I have a question, actually, Sylvia.
Yes.
I heard you talk about the breath work. Like, how does that, you're just breathing deeply and I'm just kind of wondering.
Right. Because each of them has its own, little world at the same time. All of these rules have their, what works for me might not work for you. So I experimented a lot. Really, another tip, like the fourth one that I would give, is to give yourself like 6 months of time, 7 months of time, 7 months, of time to really explore your ability. And in those 7 months, you do everything that you can. You do Kriya Yoga, you do whatever the universe puts in your way, family constellation, you do ayahuasca ceremony if it's necessary, whatever comes your way. And clear that intention more and more, because the more you clear the intention, like what is the reason why you want to do this? We want to be mediums for different reasons, right? So the clearer you are about your intention, the clearer the evidence is going to be, and the clearer the ways to get there are going to be. And it's just a matter of putting them into practice. So for example, for me, I've done breath work with Dave Gisselman. And actually, Karen, if you're going to be in the course, that's going to be part of it. He does free sessions, so anybody can do it. But you know, the commitment of being in a course kind of like forces you to do certain things that you would not do otherwise. So it's that accountability that you find when you work one-on-one with a person rather than a self-paced course, right? Breath work, I have underestimated it for the longest time. I'm like, oh, that stuff is for new age, you know, whatever. When it came my way, when it crossed my path, it was because Anthony Muraca shared this event. And I'm like, okay, if he shared it, I need to try it because I trust that guy, right? I tried it. And oh my goodness gracious. The next week I tried it again. It just does something at a cellular level that I'm not capable of telling you. But my intention was always, every time that I was doing breath work, I'm like, okay, helpers here, friends, family, whomever is on the other side of this freaking veil, just help me understand, help me. I want to know. First of all, I wanted to know if it was true that the other side existed, because I didn't want to give a hope that was not truly there. And the second time that I had breath work, I actually am going to make a video about it. I had the craziest spiritual experience ever, not during breath work, afterwards, when I went to sleep, that I found myself on the other side and I thought that I was dead. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, if I had another chance, I would have, you know, if I knew that this was real, that the spirit world was real, I would have tried harder and harder. But basically that experience is the reason why I'm here today, because I have a scientific background. I love math and chemistry and biology, and I studied physics. So I definitely was not the person that believes everything that you put under my nose, right? I actually need probably more facts than anybody else. And maybe I use the scientific method. I don't know, but I'm really like, so that experience was real, was not a dream, was not a visitation. I had it, so I know, right? And my thing was like, oh my goodness, if anybody could have this type of experience, you wouldn't need any, you know, you wouldn't need to try to convince people. You don't need to try to convince people anyways. But that experience was for me to convince myself and to keep on exploring and trying to find my personal connection. So breath work helped me with that. And it's intense breath work. It's not like just breathe in and breathe out. It's intense breath work that helps you at a cellular level.
Thank you. I look forward to your course, actually, to learn more about that.
Yes. And something that I want to say is that what I personally do during the session that I find useful is, you know, if anybody here is a medium wants to try this out. I don't know if you know Alison Dubois. She's an amazing, unbelievable, great medium, Alison Dubois. And I watch her. You have no idea how many hours of this I watched of Matt Fraser, the best of the best that are there, Monica the medium, Alison Dubois. And I'm like, there's something there that so what she does is that she breathes very loudly in and out, and then she takes a pencil. She has like 10 pencils there, and then she sharpens them sometimes, and she takes the pencil and she starts scribbling back and forth, and she breathes in and out very loud, like when she focuses on the scribbling that she does. The other one that does this is, I think his name is Henry, the medium, the Hollywood medium, like these people that have, you know, YouTube channels and stuff, because I mean, I watch so many. So that's what is working for me. And at the beginning, what I'm started doing again, since the best way to approach this is to approach this as a beginner, always with that humble heart, is to scribble as well. And when I receive an information, I write it down, and then talking with the sitter, I realize little by little, I create my vocabulary, what is called the frame of reference, the symbol vocabulary. So that's something that happens little by little, right? For example, my intention now is I ask spirit, okay, can you please bring up something to identify you so that the person knows exactly that is you who's talking and whomever is with you. Whatever that is, I don't put limitations, something to identify you, something that is dear to your heart. So a memory that you have dear to your heart, 1 or 2 or 3 memories, and then something that you are seeing the person, your loved one here on earth doing, so that they know that you're not just gone, and don't know what's going on in their life. You are around them, because I know that they are. So I asked these 3 things, and I'm realizing that spirit is giving me these 3 things, but I am figuring out how. They are giving me these things in order. Now I see that they're more intelligent than me. There is an intelligence of spirit. This is how Eileen Davis calls it. There is an intelligence of spirit, and also Tony Stockwell and Anthony. Spirit is intelligent. Once we realize that, we just surrender and trust that whatever is coming through is going to be for the highest good of the person in front of us. So this is what I do. I breathe deeply in and out. I write down whatever piece of evidence comes, and sometimes I scribble as well. And then I pass that evidence to the person, and then I figure out together with that person what that evidence means. So yes, I'm going to open it again to questions, and I'm going to go on FB, Facebook, to see what's going on. Anybody here, if you want to unmute yourself and say anything or ask questions, just.
I do. First, love breath work. It's like very powerful. Not my question though. So something that happens to me, I'm a beginner, but when I feel the energy so strong, it's so much easier to bring it through. It's almost like an energy that's so close to my face. But when I don't feel it right there, I feel like they're not there, and that I'm pulling, and then immediately get in my own way, go to the other side of my brain, and I end up stuck. And I don't know what to do in that moment. I've tried okay, think of a color, something to get me back on that side. But I'm curious to see what suggestions you would have for that.
I totally feel you, because I am so clairsentient. I like to feel spirit. They make me feel, when I feel them, it's very strong. Like my hair goes up behind my spine, and I really love the sensation. At the beginning, it would freak me out. I would get very hot. Even now, I know that I'm not alone here, and I'm feeling very hot. But at the beginning, I remember, for example, in circles, I would feel, I would attract spirit that died by suicide a lot. And that would make me feel not good, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so tragic. I don't want to do this. But they made me reperceive suicide completely, and they shifted anyways. So what I do is to just ask them to come closer. Even today, this boy, I'm like, because what's funny? Today, the reading for me was like the best reading ever. I'm like, wow, this evidence is so sharp, so clear. And they were waiting for one question to be answered. And I had it inside of my mind, which was about reincarnation. I'm like, I hope that they're not asking this question in their mind, because I don't know the answer. I can only give what I'm receiving. So any other person, like personally, I would have had my jaw like this, like, oh my gosh, yes, this is my son is here. But since they were not like reacting in any way, I asked the child, okay, can you please come closer and give me something stronger? And that's when he was giving me what they were doing during the week, like the birthday of his father and the museum and this and that, and other things that were like, and I was feeling him. So what I do is honestly just ask them to come closer to me until like I feel them, because in my mind now I'm like, I'm not making this stuff up. Before I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making this stuff up. Now I'm like, I know that I'm not making this stuff up. I know that this is very well orchestrated. Nothing is mechanical. So there is a reason as to why I'm here right now in front of them. And actually Jeff I don't remember his last name. He's also a medium. He's a doctor and a surgeon, and he used to see spirit in the operation room. I had a session with him the other day, and he said, "What is your purpose?" And I thought about it, and I'm like, my purpose is honestly to bring hope, because that's what we all need. And so he said, well, if that's your hope, then that's what you're gonna do every time that you have a reading. Because before, my intention was to be super spot on, or for what reason, right? Spirit did really clear my intention, and then he made me realize what my intention was. So I know that I'm gonna achieve that all the time. And knowing that that is my highest intention right now allows for the readings that I give to go exactly there. So maybe my suggestion would be to, again, ask them to come closer to you, and then take a moment to breathe, literally breathe without trying to do anything. Just focus on the breath. Focus on the breath just means like to enjoy, like the inhale and exhale, and be okay with being bored for 20 seconds, because in that boredom, they're gonna put something and keep on, or getting you out of being stuck in the mud. I hope that helped, and let me know if you put that into practice, how it goes. If you have any other questions, just please feel free to unmute yourself. Oh, let me go on Phoebe as well.
I had one, but I don't know if anyone else has any questions. I can wait.
Go ahead, and then if they have questions, they can unmute themselves as well.
I'm also just like Jocelyn, a beginner as well, and it's really nerve-wracking how it all, well, just the whole experience. I first started off scared, and then I decided to drop the fear. But my question is, like, there's times where like I'll feel like, let's say I'm at a friend's house and I'll feel like someone kind of like tapping my shoulder, like touching me, or I'll feel this like pressure, heavy pressure on my ear, and I'm like, what is this? Like, you know, maybe spirit's trying to tell me something, but I can't hear it, or who's touching me, or I'll feel, you know, different sensations. And have you ever had that where like you're just wondering, like, who is it? How do you know who's trying to get your attention? Or how do I guess because I've been so focused on trying to figure out who it is, that maybe I'm missing out on something bigger, you know?
You just answered your own question.
Like,
yes.
Like, I guess my thing is like, do I know? Like, I don't know always. I'm not always sure of who's there with me. Like, how do I know for sure? Is that something that I should even focus on? Like, who's touching me, or, you know?
I'm going to tell you my personal experience with that, which is my personal experience. There are two things. First of all, you already replied your question, which is you're focusing on that question so much that you might be missing out something else. And second, you already have a knowing of who is there with you, and it's just a matter of surrender to that knowing. So when we try, okay, let's say we try to meditate, it's not gonna work, because it's an attempt to do something which is the opposite of attempting, the opposite of trying. And spirit communication is so natural. It's as natural as breathing. Let's put it this way. If you think about breathing, then if you focus about breathing, or I ask you to take a deep breath, then you're already out of your normal pattern, right? If you ask you to observe your breathing, it's different. So mediumship is all about observing the subtle world that is already present. So you already have the information. The thing is that the pressure and this physical feelings are very physical, whereas the other part of connecting with spirit is very subtle. So it requires for us to do something that I'm going to tell you right now, which is also something that we're going to do in class, which is to really train our senses. If we train our senses on a daily basis, the sixth sense is going to be trained with that, and we are not even going to realize it. That's the cool thing, that spirit gave me all these fun exercises And every class that I've done in the past is very similar, but now it's even more because motherhood in my life is teaching me that as well. The fact that children learn the most when they're having fun, not when they're bored, right? If we stay here and read an amazing book on mediumship, that's awesome, but you're not going to retain 1% of that. And if you're going to, it's going to be like very logic and not something that has truly, truly, truly helped you. So one of these cool exercises is, for example, while you're cooking, to truly be present in that action that you're doing, to take the zucchini that you're cutting, thanking it, smelling it, looking at its color, thanking the knife that you're using, looking at the knife, like really being in the present moment of what you're doing. Because most of the time, and this is what I learned from when I was cleaning at a spa, and this is how I developed my connection with spirit, is because I was focusing on the action that I was doing, really like doing this challenge with myself and really like observing my thought. Oh, I'm thinking about the bank. Oh, I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat later. And at some point, those thoughts kind of like cease to exist, and a gap is created in between thoughts. I'm like, oh, I'm not thinking about anything. Okay. And then all of a sudden, I have a thought that doesn't belong to me. I literally have a thought that is not mine. And I'm like, oh my God, who's here? What? No, I don't know what to do. Who is the spirit for? And I remembered asking God, since my very first experience with mediumship was in person, and it was with, I trained in the past, but with a non-medium, because you know that when you train with mediums, usually. Since my first experience with a non-medium was in person with a mother who had a child in spirit, and she broke down in tears, I kind of like was traumatized to the point that I was like, God, no, don't send me mothers. Like, no. If you want me to do this, don't send me mothers. And I thought that I could have any control on it, I guess. But the opposite happened. And I now realize that allowed me to develop not only mediumistically, but to develop what spirit wants for us to develop at the end of the day, at the end of our life, which is a higher level of love, a higher level of compassion, of understanding, of delicacy, of beauty of your soul and of your spirit, of love towards yourself and others, like all these things that I now realize that mediumship was trying to teach me. This was, and has always been and will always be for me, a healing journey. Not that I'm healing specifically from some type of trauma, but that I'm really evolving. My spirit is really evolving, becoming greater, expressing itself in many different ways. Because at the end of the day, what spirit wants to teach us is that we are here for a reason, and we have to step into that power. So if you become a medium, that's awesome. You can be the best medium in the world, but if you don't put your gift into fruition, if you don't use it to serve others, you're always going to feel unfulfilled to a certain degree. And I'm not saying that all mediums talk to people that have crossed over. We are all mediums in different ways. A medium could be a kindergarten teacher that in a specific moment, I had a woman here that was a midwife in my classes, and she wanted to be a medium so that when her clients came to see her, she could use her gift to tap into her gift to help that person at a higher level, and I love that, integrating our connection with spirit in whatever we do in life. If you're a cook, use your connection with spirit, maybe ask the help of the most amazing cooks so that you can win the competition. If you're a singer, you can do the same. We can use that because they want for us to use this connection, and not in a way that benefits us, like winning the lottery, for example, right? But in a way that makes us feel fulfilled. So I am fulfilled when I have a session with somebody and I see their eyes, going from tears to smile, going from hopeless to hopeful. That is my healing. That is my fulfillment. At the end of the day, I put my head on my pillow and I'm like, thank you, God, for having me allowed to have this role in the life of this person. I love that. So mediumship really wants to bring to the surface of all of the layers, all of the beauty that we are, of our essence, the beauty of our essence, the purity of our heart. What we're truly doing here is very sacred work, and nothing of what we try is wrong. We are in different stages at different points, and there is no destination. This is something else that I learned. There is no destination, because it's a journey. So something that I wrote down that I want to touch on, and then I had another. I should have wrote these points down, but I hope that I'm going to get that thought back. Something that I wrote down here. Let me see if that is okay. Something that I wrote down here is that at the beginning, resistance is going to show up when we want to trust. And the cool thing is that they are learning to develop our clairs together with us. So I remember at the beginning, instead of seeing a saxophone, I remember in one of my readings, I'm like, oh, I feel your brother. Yes. Okay, great. Right. Yes, I got it. And then I see this thing that, what is this? That was my thing. I'm like, I don't understand what this is. It was like transforming in my mind. I'm like, I'm making this up. So instead of seeing a saxophone, I would see like something that little by little would transform into a saxophone. So it's really important for us to be okay with trying and be very wrong, and just laugh of ourselves, and be okay with, oh, I found it. Yes, thank you. Why is it important for us to be okay with feeling embarrassed? It's fine to feel embarrassed. It's fine to breathe through that uncomfortability, because, and this is point number 5 or 6, what I use every single time before a session is this little sentence: I'm here to serve the person that sent me, the spirit person that sent me. It's not about me. It's not about how good or bad I am. It's not about how nice my background is, even though it could be nicer and less messy. It's not about how spot on the evidence is. It's not about any of that. It's about the fact that this person is here for a reason, and I am just a vessel. So I used to cancel so many readings. I actually used to get myself sick so that I could cancel the reading. To that point, like I was so nervous and so anxious that I would fall sick. Or I would cry, or sometimes I would drink a glass of wine, or I would smoke weed and numb my feeling so that I could say, like, let's reschedule, and then feel very bad about it, blah, blah. So I was not showing up, and that was causing a lot of unfulfillment and a lot of sadness and a lot of all those things. But how do I overcome that? Like the fear of showing up. Well, anybody knows here? Anybody has an idea? Just, yeah, no?
Can you say that question one more time?
Yes, how did I overcome the fear of showing up?
I would say maybe just by just doing it. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got it. It's very simple. And the funny thing is that I'm like, no, I need to study more. I need to read more. I need to do this more. I need to do that more. And in reality, I just need to breathe through the discomfort of showing up. Because, I thought, oh, this is going to get easier. It doesn't get easier. You change, you have breakthroughs after breakthrough. And each one of us we're going to have our own breakthroughs the more we show up. Because we are supposed to, again, use this. We're supposed to use these gifts and talents. Everything that has been given us is supposed to be used for the good. There was something else that I wanted to say. it will come back to me. I'm gonna open it to question again, and then yes, Marty, by showing up. If anybody here has a question or something that you want to share about your personal experience. I love that there is a child here. Hello, child. I don't know your name.
Hey, y'all. Destiny.
Wow.
I wanted to say that I do appreciate you saying that about how like sometimes you got to tap in like everyday things, because for me personally, I tend to like, I believe that I'm good at what I do, like, you know, well, that I've been trying. I'm still a beginner too, but you know, spirit working on me. But sometimes I find myself not showing up. Like I literally won't book any readings. I won't like, it's like, because I guess it's a fear of, you know what I mean? The fear of not being right, or the fear of that, you know, people being like, she don't know what she's talking about. But it's like deep down inside, I know that you know, that spirit leads me, but sometimes we just get in our own way. And like when you were saying like how you tap in with the knife in the kitchen, like my father passed. So I feel like that's one of the things that brought me closer to like coming to this part of spirituality. And I remember one day I found myself, my dad used to make Kool-Aid all the time. And I found myself like, okay, Dad, I need you to come on. Like, you need to help me make this Kool-Aid today. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, when I tap into that, like, I make the best Kool-Aid ever. But I think of the times where I don't tap into that and the Kool-Aid be trash. So I appreciate you saying that, because that's definitely like confirmation that, you know, it's really in our everyday lives. It's just if we decide to silence everything out and accept it. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I do the same thing with mashed potato, and my godmother, she used to make the best mashed potato ever. So I do the same. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of you, you know, just help me out to give that little bit of taste, you know, that you used to give it. And I was surprised when it happened the first time. I'm like, whoa, I haven't tasted this in 16 years. This is so amazing. Something else is another exercise that we're going to do together, for example, in class, and I'm just gonna you know, spoil this totally, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, is to tune into different instruments when you're listening to a song, or to tune into the lyrics, or when you're watching a video. After watching the video, I'm gonna ask you a question like, what was the color of the t-shirt of the guy that was in the video, right? So literally using games to train our intuition. And this is going to be something that children are going to have in school, and that's going to be so cool, right? To align them with their inner compass from when they're young. But as moms, and I feel like all of us, if not most of us, are moms, we need to do that first on ourselves. Because I remember that when I was little, and I used to have my weird experiences, and I would tell my mom, she would freak out. She wouldn't know what to do. So she still freaks out. She knows what I do, but she doesn't want to hear too much about it, you know. And I also analyze that fear, right? Like, why are we so this? And it's because we grow up ignorant about it, I believe. Ignorant in the sense that we are not taught anything about it, as if like death is not a thing, as if our intuition doesn't exist, as if God is like, yeah, that thing in the sky, but it's nothing to do with us. So I feel like these times are really bringing back that awareness of who we truly are back to us. And we can use that awareness to bring light to anything that is preventing us from becoming the best version of ourselves. And now I know that I can be, and I am, and I've always been, you know, everything that I want to be, a great medium, a great singer, and all these things. But how did I overcome, for example, judgment towards myself? Because I always judge my voice, you know, it's not perfect enough, you know, I didn't do the run this way. It's by understanding that it was not given to me for vanity. It was given to me to serve others. And that just brings me back on track. You know, spirit always shakes me. It's like, girl, it's not about you. Just stop worrying. It's not about you. if you think that it's about you, of course you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna stumble. What do you say? Stumble on your own feet, something like that. You're gonna fall, but you're gonna be the one making yourself fall. But if you use this for a higher purpose, then we're gonna teach you how to make that happen. And rule number 7 or 8 or 6 is 3 rules in 1, which is what Chico Xavier, he's an amazing medium from Brazil. He channeled about 500 books and 10,000 letters from the other side. What his guide told him is, in order to work with us, there are 3 rules. Discipline. Who knows the second one? Come on, Destiny, I know you know. The first one is discipline. The second one is very similar to the first one, by the way. Okay, I told you. Come on. The second one is discipline, and the third one is discipline. Anything, if I want to learn Chinese, can I learn Chinese? Yes, I can learn Chinese. Can I learn it by tomorrow? No. You know, we can, no. If I try, I'm just gonna feel very bad because I'm gonna fail very hard. Maybe I'm gonna learn how to say ni hao ma, hi, how are you? And qi qie and sai qian. But I'm not gonna go past that, right? It's gonna take, we need to be realistic, right? It's gonna take a while to learn a new language. And here we're learning a language that, thank God, is already within us. So it's just a matter of not even learning, but just remembering and keep on surrendering. It's kind of like labor, if you all went through labor, and now finally I can talk from experience. Before I was just talking from, you know, them, and now I'm talking from experience. Just have to breathe through it, and knowing that you have that power of pushing a human out of your body. And I remember that I used to tell this to all the mothers when they would tell me, I'm so nervous before a session. Like, you push like how many babies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 babies, and you're afraid of this? No, you got this. If you were able to do that, this is nothing. It's nothing. So yeah, that was not funny. Sorry. I'm trying my best to be, but sometimes I'm not. So that's another thing. Discipline. Anybody else wants to share something before we say goodbye? Today was very, very beautiful to have you all here. I prefer this than live on Facebook. Yeah, Jocelyn.
Yeah, I forget that it's not about me, and that it's not about, oh, my Alexa's going off. Hold on one second.
You see all these technologies, like we already live in the future.
That's the video game timer. It's officially video game time.
Oh, got you. It starts. Okay.
It starts now. Yeah, I forget that it's not about me, and that it's not about the sitter. Like, I'm not here to try and please the person that's sitting in front of me. And I get caught up in that, especially if once I get a no, once I hear one no, then it happened to me today where I had spirit with me. I'm saying everything that I'm getting. And then she said no to one thing. And I immediately cut off the spirit that I'm with. And I was like, is there someone in particular that you're looking for? And I just picked up a new link and then expected that to go swimmingly when I just basically said,
I feel right.
Spirit. And then expected to get, like, who am I working for here? What is my purpose? It was completely lost in that one moment of me feeling rejected. And my purpose is in love, in, God, in showing me that this is where I'm supposed to be and honoring that. And in the moment, ego completely took over. Thanks for letting me share.
Yes, no, I totally feel you. And it's a matter of, again, practicing that as well. Because after the readings, I remember thinking, man, I forgot to think that thought. And then I'm gonna think it again next reading, right? Of like reperceiving the no. Okay, she just said no. He just said no. Awesome. Okay, I know that you said no, but bear with me. I would say, bear with me, because there is a reason as to why they're bringing this up. So I'm like, okay, what is this? What is this? Show me in another way. And they will show me in another way. For example, today, I do this exercise that would freak me out up until forever. It freaked me out forever. Of, okay, ask a question in your mind, and I'm going to see, don't say it out loud, and I'm going to see what comes through to answer that question. So this man did it, and he asked the question in his mind. I didn't know anything, and I tuned in, and I am seeing the craziest thing as usual, right? I'm like, oh shit, what is this now? And it was like a board, you know, the board that they use in circles to balance, the thing that goes like this, and they balance with their feet. I'm like, okay, you show me this thing that, you know, you balance on. You showed me the circus and people like jumping around. Are you going to the circus? Like, no, I don't understand this. I'm like, okay, bear with me and let me try again. And he was showing me that same vision, because that's the thing, right? It's like, this is the symbol. I'm giving you the symbol. Just come back to me, right? This time I gave myself the opportunity to do that, to preach what I pray, or to pray what I preach, to walk the talk, basically. And I was like, okay, what does this mean? Balance. Okay, finding balance. And then all of a sudden I see the people going around, you know, flying in circles, and I got the word change. And I got this message, and I put it together. I'm like, oh, I feel your son is telling me that he's very proud of the fact that you are adapting to change and finding your balance. And he was like, yes. I'm like, tell me. He's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you the question. He was like, I just changed my job because I was not finding my balance there, and blah, blah, blah. And I hope that the next one that I'm going to be doing is going to. So I'm like, oh, I understand what he was trying to say now. That he knows about your decision and is supporting you in that decision, and he knows that you're going to find that balance, you know, in the. So it's just very humbling. And, you know, I guess the school system taught us to, you know, if you make a mistake, oh, you're shitty. Like, you know, you don't even, you're not worthy. You know, this is not for you. Whereas in reality here, no's are chances. This is how I've been taught to see the no's. Okay, there is a chance there. There is a chance to go deeper. And actually that's it. That is like where the breakthrough happens. That is the whole purpose of the sitting, the session itself for me, because I realize where spirit wants to go, what they are trying to do through me. And I grow every time that I give myself another chance. That makes sense. So of course, yes, we forget. Yes. And that's why we gotta practice and discipline ourselves more. But breath work has cut that, you know, that they say that you master something when you spend 10,000 hours doing it. Breath work cuts it to a half. So very powerful. So I'm like 4,999 hours away. But you know, 1 hour closer, for example. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I hope that everything that has been talked about today, you know, brought some light and helped you in some way. I actually wanted to ask you, everybody, how did you find me? Because I don't have you on Facebook. I do not know you. What happened?
The person that I read, the person I had a session with today had messaged me saying, because we had a conversation after our session, she's like, you will love this, check this out. And she sent me the Zoom link. So just how that happened. I was just supposed to be here. And she was right. I'm going to go message her right after this and be like, you were right. I love her.
She knows me? Do you know if she knows me?
Her name's Raina.
Do you know that she's the first one that I've ever connected with? Raina from California?
Yes, she pointed me to you.
I was so afraid when her son showed up. I was doing a tarot reading for her like 4 years ago. And her son showed up in the reading. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. So I haven't read for her yet, you know, this year is because, you know, we never connected after that, but so interesting. I'm so glad that, you know, she sent you here, and maybe you had to meet her, not for the session with her, but so that you could be here, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who knows,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's a reason. So, and Ariana, yes. I'm so happy that Ariana sent you here. We had a very interesting talk yesterday morning in our podcast. All right, and Diana, I know that you came because you are on Facebook. I have you.
Yes.
Any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Where can I find you on Facebook? Like, I don't even know that. What is the group that you have on Facebook called?
So my name is Sylvia. My last name, I'm gonna put it in the chat because it's very long. I don't know if I should change my last name because here in America, like nobody knows how to write it, spell it, and it's very frustrating for them. But I created a group, but I should invite more people in. Now that my baby is like almost 3 months, I have more time to dedicate. But it's called Confident Mediums Impacting Lives. That's my intention to create mediums that then can create mediums and then can create mediums and big ripple effect. So yes, that's my name. If you want to add me on Facebook, we're going to have a class and Diana and Karen are going to be in it. And it's all about everything that we spoke about today, and mainly, a lot of fun practice, because that's what helped me the most. That is it, so yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Anybody else?
Oh, I'm just thankful for your group tonight. AG sent me as well. Well, Ariana. So that's how I found you. I'll definitely be following.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yes, you put Mahina, you put my page there. Yes, that's also my personal page. And sylviaheals.com is my website in case you want to see stuff there. I created it and I'm, working on it. So still a work in progress, but you can find everything there. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna do these talks more often because I enjoy them very much. I enjoy the interaction and the fact that I can serve also while doing this. Yeah. So I'll see you. Just stay tuned. Just look at my profile and let you know when the next event is gonna be. All right. Many blessings to you all, and thanks also to those that are followed from Facebook. And I love you. And keep me posted as to what you decide to apply. Good night, good night, good night. Many blessings.